Canada, home of maple syrups, hockey, and Justin Bieber. But more than those, did you know that Canada is the second largest in the world after Russia? Out of roughly 38 million population of Canada, 65.1% were born outside of the country, meaning immigrants. And most nationalities from countries such as India, Philippines, China, Syria, United States, Pakistan, France, Nigeria, United Kingdom, and Iraq reside in Canada. And in a recent survey, they are expecting nearly 1 million new immigrants between 2018 and 2020. So, how can immigrants manage to live in a country far from their own? Immigrants undergo what you call cultural assimilation, or the process of which a minority group or culture comes to resemble a dominant group or assume the values, behaviors, and beliefs of another group, meaning adopting another culture. So, through interviewing two immigrants from Canada, will give us more understanding on how Filipinos live in Canada.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Luis and I am 20 years old. I'm originally from here in the Philippines. I moved to Canada last 2016 up until last year 2018. I've been staying in Canada for 2 years and a month, and I visit Philippines every other year. And currently I have been staying here in the Philippines for almost about a year now, from October last year 2018.
Hi, my name is Nico Marasigan and I am 20 years old. I'm originally from Imus, Cavite, Philippines. And I moved to Canada last March 2016 until now. And because of my mom is a caregiver, and then she sponsored the whole family, me, my little brother, and my father. And I've been staying for Canada for the past 2 years, and I haven't come home yet. No vacation from the Philippines, and that's all about me.
Hi. So, first question, how was your life in Canada during your first months there?
I think it would be hard adjusting to the weather because it was like freezing cold, like March, peak of, it's the season between spring and winter, so it's pretty unusual if a Filipino move here, and then it's the weather plus being homesick to your friends and everything. It's a mixed feeling. You get excited for the opportunities here, and um it's a different feeling, but I had a hard time, and it and then I picked myself up because adjustment was it's a process. Everyone's been there. Everyone that moved here, I swear, they've been homesick or somewhat.
During my first months in Canada, I feel very excited about everything, for places to see, and it felt great. I felt like there is a bright future for us there. I didn't had a hard time adjusting in Canada because people there are mostly Filipinos too, and it's just the weather that is the hard part to adjust to.
So, what do you think is the most noticeable difference that Canadians and Filipinos have?
I think the most noticeable difference that Filipinos versus Canadian have is that Canadians are very on time, unlike us Filipinos. You know what I mean? For example, buses there have their schedule. So if you're late just 1 minute, they will leave you.
I think it's the respect to the elders, because usually when a sick grandpa or grandma of a Filipino, we usually take care of them until they die, keep them in our house. But in here, usually if the old guys die, they just like send it to the retirement home and then pay for someone to take care of them. So I think that's one of the difference. And then Philippines like to laugh and make fun of everything, while Canadians are more type of the serious person. Like they're like work, go to mall, like that. Usually like spend time with their family during the Sundays. But us Filipinos, I think every day is a family day for us, especially if we're living with our relatives.
So, do you find it difficult communicating with Canadians?
That would be nope, because thankful for my English subject since grade 1 in the Philippines. I didn't have a hard time communicating with any one of them. But sometimes I notice myself having like stutter and some grammar problems. But the big thing is that Canadians don't give I mean, they don't care if you have a grammatical error as long as they can understand what you're saying and you can understand what they're saying to you.
Sometimes I find it difficult to communicate with them because they have really fast and different accent compared to us Filipinos.
So in terms of communicating, what do you think is the most, or what do you think Canadians love talking about?
They love talking about hockey and poutine. It's like their iconic food. It's fries with gravy and with melted cheese lard.
It would be hockey, Raptors, basketball, and then their everyday living. How's your work? You know, Canadians very polite even though you haven't met them for a long time. They'll ask, "How are you? How's your life? And how's work?" Everything like that. It's like it's in the culture. Like they ask you everything in a polite way. So I find it very lovely.
On the contrary, what do Canadians find offensive in terms of communicating?
I think that would be like when you're in front of them and then you're talking to your native language. For example, us, we're talking in our language while we're in front of them. I feel like they being disrespected and they're being like backstabbed because you're talking in front of them in the language that they don't understand. So I think they find it like very offensive if you're doing that, based from my experience.
I really think Canadians find it really offensive when people speak different language other than English because they felt like they're not considering others when they're talking about something.
Canadians approachable or dismissive?
Canadians are very approachable, but it also depends on how you approach them.
100% they're approachable. Everyone. Like just they're very open when it comes to communication, so there's no problem like approaching them or anything.
So in terms of religion, what do you think is the most prominent religion in Canada?
I would be think it would be Jewish. Yeah. Jewish, 100%. Like there's a lot of Jews here.
I'm not sure which is the most prominent religion in Canada because every people from other country there have their own religion that they take to Canada. For example, like Filipinos, they take Christianity in Canada and they have their own group, and also Muslims have their own group. There's no general religion for everybody in Canada.
What do you think Canadians believe in, or what are their religious beliefs?
I'm not really sure what Canadians believe in religiously because I've never been in a Canadian church.
I think it's a mix of everything, but the most dominant is Jewish. Like they go to church every Sunday. They have a community center here. There's a lot of community center that around here, Jewish community center, and because so many French Canadians are Jewish too, so Jewish is the most dominant religion here in the country.
Based from your experience, how do Canadians treat other people with different race or with different nationalities, like perhaps like a Filipino?
It's the same. Like, Canadians are not racist. Canadians are very open, and they like hiring Filipino workers because us, we're very industrious and we're very hard worker. Trust me, like wherever you go, every fast food, retirement home, there, school, there will be a Filipino working in there. Trust me, because they like hiring us. We're very respectful and we're very hard for our craft. That's why they treat us like the same respect that we get for everywhere.
Canadians treat other people like Filipino very considerably because they think we are fun people. They love the Philippines and they really know that it's fun in the Philippines. And Filipinas are known to be very beautiful to them.
So in the Philippines, you know that we have the language of respect, such as saying po and opo, or giving the courtesy to the elderly, such as lolo and lola, or even those people that are older than us by saying ate or kuya, or tito or tita. Do Canadians have that as well? Or how do they address people who are older than them?
So in the Philippines, we use po and opo as respect to the elderly, but compared to Canadians, they don't use words like that to address the elderly. They just call them by their name. They don't have something like ate or kuya.
We don't have that kind of respect here. I think if someone's older than you, they just say it by name, in a polite way, not just like a rude way. So they address or grandpa or grandma like pa or ma if it's their parents or their grandparents. But there's no such thing as like a word of po and opo as a sign of respect.
How is the education system in Canada?
Yeah, we have grade 1 to 12 too, like so 4 to 6 for middle school and no 4 to 7 for middle school and then 8 to 12 for high school, but the difference is once you reach grade 11 or grade 12, you're gonna take some university courses or college courses, because unlike in the Philippines, like once you graduate high school, you can go to any colleges and university as long as you pass their entrance test and met their grade requirement. But in here, no, there's a specific subjects and courses that was offered in university, and there's a specific courses and subjects that are offered in college. So you have to decide in grade 11 or grade 12 what you're gonna take, which school are you gonna go. So the guidance counselor will help you what are the subjects you're gonna take for your last 2 years that you really need for going to university or college. If you're going to university or college, so there's a different subject for that in high school.
Education system in Canada is really really great because from the first time you go to school, like from kinder until your grade 12, it's free and their public schools are very competitive. It's just when you go to college, universities are really expensive. Like you spend $10,000 or 400,000 pesos per year.
In terms of gender roles, are men and women treated equally? And how about the LGBTQ community?
Women and men are treated equally in Canada, especially they celebrate LGBTQ people. They also have a pedestrian lane that is colorful with all that colors in streets in our city, especially in Toronto, for the LGBTQ. And they also have a parade that I think they do every year to celebrate LGBTQ community.
Yeah, same-sex marriage is legal, and we have Pride Parade every summer, and the Prime Minister has very strict laws when it comes to gay rights and bisexual rights. So we respect everyone here, no matter what your race is and gender, especially.
Since you are a working student, how do employers treat you? Is there a huge power distance in between?
So I've been working study here for 2 years in my company in McDonald's, and employers treats me the same thing. As long as you're a hard worker, they will not say anything. Just do your work and have some respect to the higher officials, to your bosses. It's everything. That's it. You will have, as long as you work hard and respect each other, you would have a hard time having a job here.
I used to work in Canada for a year. I work at Rexall. It's a pharmacy. I am a front store sales clerk there. I have a manager in our store and they treat us very well and fair. Of course, there's a distance in their position as compared to us employees.
Do Canadians respect personal space and privacy?
Canadians respect personal space and privacy very seriously.
Yep, they are. They do. They respect it a lot. Like respect personal space and privacy.
Are they touchy?
Nope. Like I said, no, they're not. They're just gonna give you a handshake or a fist bump if you're bumping with them.
I don't think Canadians are touchy.
So, what do you think is Canada's most prominent behavior that will make you say whenever someone talks, like, oh, that person is Canadian?
Canadians' most prominent behavior is that they are very apologetic. For example, they say sorry right away when they hit you or something. They are not rude to you when you did something to them that you did purposely. And people open doors for you in Canada. Like when you go to a convenience store, they will wait for you. Even when you just came out of the car, they will wait for you and open doors for you. They are very courteous and considerate to the people around them.
It's probably like drinking beer. They like beer a lot. Talking about sports like hockey and basketball. Talking to you about your work, about your life here in Canada. How are you? How you been? And yeah, that's it.
And lastly, what can you say about the social status in Canada?
Social status, it's easy because things here are cheap. I told you, like if you're earning really good, you can buy those designer and like you can like flex and everything. But they don't care about those things. But in Asian culture, I know we care a lot about those things. But social status is just simple here. Like as long as you dress good, dress for the weather. If it's winter, you wear a high jacket and some stuff. But most of the time, it's as simple. So yeah.
There is a blog, a lot of news says that Canada is the #1 country for the best quality life. I really think that that is true because even though you're just a minimum wage earner, you can get a house, you can get a car, unlike here in the Philippines. Only fortunate people can afford those kind of stuff. I really think that people are equal there even though you are professional or a minimum wage earner. You can access same privileges like the rich people can. And also to mention that blue collar jobs like people in the factory, people in construction, they are paid much more than the people in the office because they really have loads of work to do. Unlike here in the Philippines, when you're in the office compared to people working hard jobs like construction and people in the factory, they pay less, but their employers give them lots of benefits and reasonable salaries.
So I guess that's it. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Gail, for choosing me for this interview, for this opportunity to share my experience in Canada. And I really hope that you can visit there to experience their culture and their quality of life.
So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.
So one thing that I learned from the interview is that Canadians are very welcoming. Despite the different races or despite the different people, nationalities that reside in Canada, still they treat them with utmost respect and give them a whole lot of courtesy, and they never discriminate them for they believe that it is a criminal offense. From the interviews that I had with Caitlin and Nico, of course they had a hard time. Well, most especially Nico, they had a hard time adjusting with the weather, of course, of Canada, because they have like 4 seasons, and here in the Philippines we only have two types of weather. And also it is very difficult to be far away from your friends and also your other relatives. So but because of the kindness and the heartwarming behavior or attitudes that Canadians have, it would be very easy for you to adjust. And also the huge difference that they have, the Filipinos and the Canadians have, is that although the Canadians are very respectful, they don't have that kind of they don't have that level of respect, just like us Filipinos, because we have a language of respect. We have po and opo, we give courtesy to the elderly, and unlike in Canada, they treat people who are older than them just the same as their age. And also we are very as Filipinos, we are very family oriented. We don't leave our grandparents in a retirement home because we believe that they raised us well, so we should take care of them until their last breath. And also one of the differences that I can never forget is that Canadians are very on time, unlike us Filipinos. When we have a call time, like for example 7 o'clock, we will arrive there at 8 o'clock. Unlike Canadians, they are very or they give time importance, and when you're late with just a second, they will really leave you. Indeed, learning other culture is very fun, and I do hope that I could be able to visit Canada one day and be able to experience the culture that they have firsthand, and meet new people and meet Canadians and treat them just like how we treat others, and that is with kindness and respect.